How do I know I'm in an authentic Asian shopping center? Well, let's find out. Honda, Toyota, Toyota, Honda, Hyundai, Toyota, Honda, Honda, Toyota, Honda.
We've come a long, long way. I'm not afraid any longer. We've come a long, long way. Our love is getting stronger. We've come a long, long way. And the future's looking brighter. We've come a long, long way. Our love is so much tighter.
Hi, welcome to the Kyle Vlog 3. I am en route to an audition. I should be used to these. Most auditions are fairly simple. They give you something to read, or you've been reading something since last night. You try to be as much off book as possible. But this one is a little bit different. This one is a music video. 99% of music videos, I don't have lines. If anything, I have to listen to the background song and mouth it. I don't want to at this time say whose music video this is for. This is somebody who's most people have heard of. The pay is not substantial in music videos normally. Maybe a couple $100 to $1,000. It's only one day's work. Maybe one 12-hour day or two 12-hour days or such, and you're just waiting around most of the time. I've done 4 or 5 music videos before. Back to one about a plane crash, a jazz one, that name escapes me. I was in a music video for What's This Life For by Creed, and was tied in with the movie Halloween H2O with Jamie Lee Curtis. They have this huge crowd scene of like 100 and something people, and all we're doing is walking toward. They never even show what they were walking toward, but all of us are like in an arch walking toward something in the middle of a dry bed desert. They didn't tell us where we were going. They didn't even explain what was going on. They just said, "Oh, you want to get paid? Jump in the bus." We all jumped in the bus. 3 hours later, we're halfway to Vegas. Nobody would answer us. By the time we got there, no cell phone service, nothing. Of the 2 versions of the video, there was one with Jamie Lee Curtis that used clips from the movie. I hate traffic. And the other one was just straight Creed, and they actually had a woman looking very manic, depressive, and crazy. And that woman was comedian Melinda Hill. Very funny too. I hate traffic a lot. Brian McKnight. That one was just creepy because it's supposed to be about an airplane, bunch of passengers knowing they're going to crash, so they call on the airplane phones or what have you to their loved ones, and then the plane crashes in the middle of a cornfield. The actual cornfield itself was put up in the middle of Van Nuys, California, in the middle of a recreation center. It was an actual cornfield, and it was a pretty good sized cornfield. They spewed airplane parts, huge airplane parts, in the middle of this cornfield. And then they put smoke machines everywhere. And then they had us just walking around searching for survivors. This was an actual music video. Make sure you look up Brian McKnight's Back to One. So I got paid like $70 at the end of the day cash. It was zoom, in, out, walk around for 4 hours in smoke and cornfield. A lot of people were really pissed about being in this music video so much. They literally backed their car up into the cornfield. These are extras, mind you, background actors. They opened their trunk of their cars and grabbed ears of corn and started loading them up, fresh grown corn, and threw the ears in their car. And this one guy who must have had at least 100 of them said, "I'm going to farmer's market and try to make some money off this." Since I have a couple minutes, right now would be the best time for me to explain how I started. The first thing I did on camera was I was a background artist, an extra. I did something like 100 and something different TV shows and 40, 50 movies. Some of them are exciting, some of them are, Now, I was an extra for 6 or 7 years. And at that point, you become known as a lifer. There is no glamour to it, but it is honest work. People decide that they want to get the slightest taste of being an actor, and they choose extra work because it's convenient, pays good. There's a company called Central Casting, which is in Burbank. Central Casting is the go-to casting service. You need an extra in LA. The one you sign up to is Central Casting because they cast thousands of people every day, 24/7 literally, because there are some shoots that go overnight. Central Casting has been around for 80, 90 years now. I signed up. My first job was an audience sitter. That's just showing up someplace, getting paid below minimum wage, and just sitting in an audience, dressed nice, for a talk show, for whatever they're just trying to fill an audience with. Well, that was for the Roseanne show, and I remember watching Judith Light get very excited by being interviewed by Roseanne. Again, 20-something years ago. Then my next day, I believe I was on 90210, and the day after that, I was on Just Shoot Me. Just Shoot Me I stayed with for an entire season. So why did I become an extra? I don't know, really. I liked acting, but at the same time, I also realized extra work was not hardcore acting. Maybe just to test the waters. Can I make it famous from doing extra work? Most likely no. And that is the absolute truth. The ones that I could think of are Colm Meaney, who played O'Brien on Star Trek The Next Generation. The first episode of Star Trek The Next Generation Season 1, Encounters at Farpoint, he was an extra. The next episode, they called him back and made him Ensign O'Brien in charge of the transporter. Tracy Bingham, a model, but I think she wanted to do more. A Baywatch lifeguard, and I think she was on this show for 2 years. Then I think she appeared in Playboy, and I think she's done some reality shows since. The third person I could think of, I can't think of his name, but I've run into him a couple times, and he's a really nice guy. He played Aaron on the first few seasons of 24. Now he's has a career, and I think he's coming out with a TV show or movie soon. But the one urban legend that everybody talks about, and I don't know how much is urban legend versus real, happened about 30 years ago. JJ is one of the casting people over at Central Casting. He's been there for 30, 40 years. I don't even know if he's still there. He was casting, I've heard conflicting reports whether it was California Dreams or Saved by the Bell. Some guy was looking through the book saying, yeah, we need a guy. Maybe we could throw him some lines. We're not sure. But they were very specific on what they were looking for when they went to JJ. And JJ gave him the book of headshots, of photos of people, and said, okay, go ahead and pick. And so JJ's also suggested this one guy who has a really clean-cut look, natural, really the sexy look. I don't think he knew much about him, but he just said, why don't you try this guy? He appeared as boyfriend X or whatever, and gave him lines and everything. And that was the start of the career of Brad Pitt. Okay, I'm doing something exciting right now, like walking to the audition. Wish me luck. It could be that it's just sour grapes on my part, but the thing about auditioning is it's phony. It's not real. What am I saying? You have this bevy of talent that they expect you to bring in, and you're expected to display every bit of it within 3 minutes, and then they're on to the next person. And you have to use their words, you have to show them that you can do it. And of course, between now and when you actually book the part, the role might change 15 times, the words are going to change 15 times. So you're no longer qualified for that role that you booked that everyone said you're great in. Or the guy at home would have been so much better because he changed the part. There's all these weird, intricate things about auditioning that just doesn't feel real. And at the same time, you take umbrage, you take it very personal when they say, okay, thank you, and they never call. I'm not a big fan of auditioning. At the same time, I also realize there is no better process for them to find an actor, talent, what have you. So thanks everybody for watching. This was episode 3, and it was a little bit depressing, but this is the actual truth of what I go through maybe 2-3 times a week when I have an audition. And a lot of actors have a similar process. But I do thank you for watching. This has been episode 3, and if you need to get a hold of me, my name is Kyle Isao. I'm Kyle Isao on Facebook, and on Twitter and Instagram, I'm at Kyle Isao, KYLEISAO. And if you have any questions for me, you can email me at AskKyleAQuestion. One long word, AskKyleAQuestion@gmail.com. Until then, Debbie, did we pay the electrical bill? Debbie? Debbie? I'll see you guys next week from Hollywood. Let's wrap. Debbie, are we in the right apartment?